Yo, what is up, my people? Welcome back to another Loom. Now, in today's video, I am going to be talking about how to make it happen in 2025, at least how I'm going to make it happen for me, and what I'm currently doing right now in 2024 to make everything happen. Now, before we start, we have to talk about what does making it happen mean? And I feel like this is one of those things that messes a lot of people up. People tend to just follow the general standard, what the majority say is, or what the majority definition of success is, right? Like if you're in the just an example, if you're in the online income entrepreneur content creator space, like I feel like there's this general standard of like, oh, 10K a month, Rolex, uh, luxury lifestyle, laptop lifestyle, income, live in Dubai, right? And of course, I do I do want those things, not gonna lie. But if you're just wanting those things just because everybody else wants it or everybody else is saying that's the definition of success and you follow it, you're shooting yourself in the foot. It's not authentic to you. So before you even think about making it happen, you have to get clear and very concise on what you think making it happen means to you. It has to be authentic and original to you. So that is already step one of how to make it happen in 2025. Right now it is October, I don't know, 23. It's October 23 right now. You have November and December to really take time and figure out what that means for you. What making it happen means for you, right? It doesn't really take 2 months. If I'm personally, I think it doesn't take 2 months, but you get my point, right? So, anyways, moving on. I don't have the traditional presentation. Well, I consider this somewhat of a presentation, but I don't have it in like the slides format. So if you guys have really bad attention spans and you're not willing to be here for, I guess you could say 45 minutes to an hour, give or take, just click off this video. It's not really for you. Yeah, if you can't even do that, then good luck. Well, how are you, if you can't spend 1 hour of your time, how do you think you're gonna make 2025 happen, bro? But anyways, my idea of making this video came from this unique situation that I'm in right now, which is I'm in this weird spot where my success hasn't exactly happened yet, but based on what I have done and what I'm currently doing, it's, in my opinion, uh, God forbid I could be wrong, but I think I am on the path to do so with everything that I've got going on right now. And I just want to share with you guys, some things that I've done this past year that have helped me get to my current position today. And with this current position, what I'm doing now to get me to my goals in 2025. So now that I think about it, before we even start off with this, I want to tell you guys what I define for myself as making it happen in 2025. So the first thing that I define as making it happen is scaling my YouTube channel to a larger degree. So right now, at the time of making this video, we're sitting at just below 2,000 subscribers. We're at 1.95K to be exact. And I'd like to see this, hit at least 10K next year. That is the goal. By the end of 2025, if I can end up at 10K, I consider that to me making it happen. Okay. Right. You could be a little bit more ambitious than me if you have your own YouTube channel, whatever. Right. But that's what I define for me as making it happen. Okay. The second thing that I define as making it happen is to improve my social life. So for those of you guys who don't know me, I moved out at a rather younger age. I moved out when I was 19 from Aurora, Illinois, to be exact, to where I'm at now, which is Miami. I'm living closer to like Coral Gables slash Little Havana kind of thing, right? I'm right by Ponce. Um, but yeah, point is, in between those 3 years, because I'm 22 now, I've lost a lot of time socializing. Now, I have really good communication skills because of everything that I've had to do in between. I did the whole, working multiple jobs and then moving into a more stable and professional job, and then jumping from to another company and whatever, right? Like the whole traditional career path. And in doing so, I've been able to build my communication skills on a professional level. Being in the automotive industry. For those of you guys who don't know, I used to work at Lucid Motors, and I'd just be like that guide. Like I'd set up the appointments for service, and I'd also write the work orders. So like if you had some kind of system fault light on your car, if you had a flat tire, stuff like that, or you just needed a maintenance, I would write that stuff up and send it to the technicians. So that's basically what I did. And I would deal with a lot of high net worth clientele, and that's where my communication skill came into play. That's where I really honed in on learning communication, and also because of the communication, I've been able to make connections with these people, and even friendships, right? And I've learned a lot from how these people think, their success stories, the paths that they've chosen to take in life, right? However, as good as all that sounds, I lost a lot of time of, for the lack of a better term, because I don't know, I'd say I lost a lot of my youth from moving out at a younger age. I feel like I lost a little bit of that younger experience, if that makes any kind of sense. I feel like I've been forced to grow up, when I decided to move away from home. So now that I'm in this current situation that I'm in, which I'll share in more detail, but I do want to get that time back. I really want to be able to socialize, make friends with people my age, or around that age at least, and hone that skill. So that's another thing that I define as making it happen in 2025. I really want to have a social life again, if I'm being honest. And then the third thing that I define as making it happen is to have a consistent online income. I don't give a fuck if it's 4 or 5K, 6K, 7K, 8K, 10K, 25K, 50K, as long as there's a fucking K every month coming in consistently. I define that as making it happen, especially if it's uh, coming from online, whether that's directly from YouTube, or if there's a product or service that I'm rendering out on the back end, or affiliate, whatever, right? Whole online entrepreneur shit. That's what I want to achieve. I'm so serious. Even 1K, dude, just I'll move to Bali or whatever, keep expenses low, dude, life. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but you get my point. Okay? So those are my definitions of making it happen in 2025. Now, moving on, I'll talk about what I've done so far this past year to get me to my current position, which is the first thing I've done is made a commitment to YouTube. So before, guys, when I was working at Lucid and I had the traditional office life schedule, my schedule was Monday to Friday, 10 to 7, sometimes Saturdays, 9 to 4, okay? If an advisor needed coverage. So anyways, I made a commitment to YouTube this year, and what I would do is I'd wake up at like I had this like period of time where I'd wake up at 3 a.m., but usually like 4 a.m. I'll wake up and I'll make a YouTube video. I decided like I don't know how I'm gonna make this whole YouTube thing happen. I don't know what direction I want to take. It was kind of like shooting blanks almost, but I knew that YouTube is where I want to be. So I made a commitment to YouTube, and what I did first thing was, in those earlier times I would get up, I would just make like a sit down vlog, talking headshot, kind of like the way Hamza does it. And I would just talk like self improvement and stuff like that. And the thing was, I fucking hated it because each video would break. I'd only get like 20 to 60 views or something like that per video. And I was doing that minimum once a week, and sometimes I'd be able to get like maybe two videos in a week. Yeah, that was like the first thing that I've done. It was a very uncomfortable commitment to make from the start, because I wasn't really sure. Like I didn't have any kind of direction. I had no idea what I was doing. I knew it was like self-development, but where in self-development? There's so many different niches, right? So I made a commitment to YouTube, and that was a very life-changing commitment for me, because we're now growing at a very slow but steady and consistent rate, which I am very, very grateful for. And yeah, I'm really appreciative of those of you guys who are constantly coming back to my videos. Those of you guys who are just now landing on this, I really do appreciate you guys taking the time, investing your time into what I have to say. So that's one. The second thing that I've done was invest into my first coach slash mentor. So funny enough, I was going for a run. I was visiting my mom in Tampa. I was going for a run in the morning, and I was just listening to all these like, motivation podcasts, like these like sound bites, right? Like background music. And after one of these videos finished up, there was another video on cue. Funny enough, now that I think about it, the title was "How to Make It Happen in 2024." Funny how that circles around, right? Now I'm making one of these, right? And that video was also a Loom, and it was by this YouTuber named Tom Pearson. And after listening to that Loom, I was just hooked, and I watched like all of his other videos, and eventually I realized he offered a coaching service for like just entrepreneurship, online stuff, and personal branding, and even health and fitness. So I chose him as my mentor. I invested into him. It was not cheap. It was a very not uncomfortable decision to make, but it did hurt my wallet, not gonna lie. And also I realized I've always wanted to invest into him. I've always wanted to have a mentor. Yeah, even invest in one, I'd say. Yeah, I've always wanted to. But the problem was I never had someone who had a very similar situation to mine. I feel like all the mentors that I had access to at the time were like older than me. They took the traditional career path, so their mindset is a little bit different from mine. But Tom, he's only a year older than me. He's achieved entrepreneurial success, without the degree, lives the lifestyle that I kind of want to live, thinks the way I think. And the only difference really between me and him is he has higher levels of discipline than I do, and has more experience than I do. So chose to invest into him, and that was very, very life-changing, especially when I met him in person in Dubai, which we'll talk about that in depth too. And then this year I also isolated myself. Hence why one of my definitions of making it happen is having a social life. I isolated myself this year because I wanted to find clarity. What is it that I really, really want to do with my life? Because I ran into this situation where the money from Lucid, it slowed up a little bit, and also I started to realize that I was getting tired of my day-to-day life and just not spending, but like the coworkers I had around me. I was able to see their trajectory, their paths, their lifestyles, and not that there's nothing. I don't think any less of them. It's just that their paths, their way of thinking, the way that they want to do things, it was just not aligned with the way I wanted to go about things. And personally, I feel like the automotive industry, it tends to lean to a more unhealthy lifestyle, I'd rather say, in terms of just like being very sedentary, just being sat down at a desk, at least for what I was doing. And then also just like the culture of junk food. At least that's my experience. Let me know if any of you are in automotive and experience something different. But for me, I've always been accustomed to, like the managers bringing really good food, but just really unhealthy. And yeah, that does not mix well with sedentary lifestyle. So there's a bunch of factors that made me get to this point. But yeah, just to keep it short, I did isolate myself because I really wanted that clarity. It sucked. It sucked being alone. It sucks now. But I really wanted to get clear on where I want to go in life. Like, I feel like it's very important to live with intention. Like, you only have one life. So why would you even think of just letting things, naturally flow? Like, that's, at least for me, that's not how I want to roll. So yeah, isolated myself for the year. And then also I finally have left my 9 to 5. This one, guys, was a scary decision to make. Fucking uncomfortable as hell. I like when I told some people that I left my 9 to 5, they saw it as a flex. Leaving your 9 to 5 is not a flex. I swear to God, it's not a flex, bro. It's only a flex when you've actually made it happen. That's just one half of the process. I'm now in the other half trying to figure that half out. Okay. So how I came to this decision took a lot of diligence. It took uh, a lot of planning, a lot of measure, right? So I knew certain things I had to sacrifice. I knew there were certain things that I had to do. One of them being, for those of you guys who keep up with the channel, you guys know that I do have a nice Audi. However, if I'm being fucking honest, it's not something that I can afford if I don't have consistent income. So I I knew from the earlier in the year, I think it was like March, April, around that time, I put it up on Turo, had a partner rent it out for me and deal with the day-to-day stuff, give him a percentage based on performance. And I would just have the car rented out and have it pay for itself. So I did that as to take measure ahead of time, right? Because I knew what I wanted to do. I just didn't know when it was going to happen. But I knew by March, April, I wanted to leave. I just didn't know when, kind of thing. So that was one measure I took to make this happen. There was a bunch of other things too, but I'm just giving you an example, right? And then um, I think my first video that did really well was a day in the life, realistic day in the life vlog. And you guys could scroll through my channel. It's like this thumbnail of me like holding out like a MacBook, like like the MacBook box, because I just bought like a new MacBook that day, and I filmed it. And that was inspired from Daniel Dalen, actually. So I was like, I'm tired of these sit down vlogs. They're all bricking anyways. Like why do I keep making these videos if I'm just getting the same results? So I was like, what? Let's do something different. Daniel Dalen, he just like, I love his videography, man. So he really inspired me, and I just wanted to try something in my own way. And that was like my first 1K view video of the year. And I was like, yo, I didn't realize how much people would like this stuff. I didn't, I'm not a good editor. At least during that time, I wasn't. I didn't know how to edit. So that was just kind of like pieced together by, just me playing around with shit. Anyways, that was the kickstart of the growth of this YouTube channel. That very first day in the life vlog, that was the kickstart. And reason I'm telling you guys all this is because it all adds up to making more day in the life vlogs, and then I made my first one in Dubai. So another isolation trip. I went to Dubai by myself. I didn't take any friends with me. I didn't do anything touristy. I didn't do anything really quote unquote fun per se. I went to Dubai. I rented an Airbnb. It was a really nice like luxury studio kind of thing. It was super cool. I stayed in Business Bay, and this was an isolation trip for me. And it was another trip to find clarity in what I really wanted to do. And it was also to meet my coach. I think this was around like July, early July, I believe. But yeah, early July. And yeah, I met my coach in person, met Tom in person, had a good time, hung out with him. And then I started like, making more vlogs while I was in Dubai. And during that time when I was isolated completely to myself, I realized how much I love making YouTube videos and how much I love this whole like laptop lifestyle. Bring the laptop with me to the cafe, bring the vlog camera with me, have, a nice coffee with some sparkling, all this fancy shit, right? So I really loved that kind of lifestyle. And I was just like, yo, if I could just make YouTube happen and live this kind of lifestyle, because that's really all I want to do. I want to live in a nice, like, small condo, or maybe even a penthouse someday, depending on how big we get, right? But you get my point, right? That's all I want. Like, I like that laptop lifestyle. It's really authentic to me. I love it. And I just realized how passionate I am about creating content, in terms of just like a creativity perspective, and and I just love the self-development space and all that. So it really gave me that clarity. I was like, okay, I need to leave my job. So once I got back from Dubai, that was really like the final nail in the coffin, where I made that decision, like, okay, it's time to leave. So I gave a 1 month notice to my managers that I'm leaving. And yeah, the rest is well, I wouldn't say rest is history. I'm still trying to make this shit work. But yeah, it's current situation I'm in now. I've been on my own for a little over 2 months, I'd say. So yeah, left my 9 to 5. And then shortly after I left my 9 to 5, shout out to Mr. Tom Pearson. It's because of his mentorship. I had my first taste of online income with the coaching business model. So right now, funny enough, I'm in this situation where I'm kind of questioning if I still want to continue the coaching business model. But that was my first taste of online income. And I consider this as an achievement because it really opened up my perspective on what's possible. It made me realize that, oh, like I can I can make money online. Like that possibility, and just having that actually happen, it just brought my faith that this could work to a whole nother level. So yeah, I had my first taste of online income. I'm not going to say the amount, but it was a recurring monthly on Stripe. And guys, like for those of you guys who are already in this space of entrepreneurship, who are already a few steps ahead, or we're just maybe on a similar path as I am, there is no better feeling than that first Stripe payment. I swear to God, it feels amazing. So yeah, had my first taste with that. That's what I've done, and then also, last but not least, I've unlearned my old employee mindset, I'd say, and have shifted my mindset into result based products and services. And what I mean by old employee mindset is, before, I would think about, oh, in X amount of months, I could work my way up into X position. And with X position, I can earn this much if I put in these hours. And with these hours, if I could earn this much, then I could put this money into this money into that. Then I could, funnel my side hustle. And to me, that was just like an employee mindset that I had to get rid of, because let's be real, like, are you really going to treat a side hustle with full dedication and just have an unwavering mentality in doing it, if it's just something on the side? For me, it's just like, I'm really, just personally, I'm the type of person who believes that plan A is plan A. There is no plan B. Like, having a plan B is a guaranteed way to make plan A fail. Like, that's just kind of how I go about things. You may disagree, but yeah, that was something that I had to unlearn myself, and I shifted into result based thinking about result based products and services. So rather than thinking about how I'm binding my time to what I can earn, I'm now in this season of life where I'm thinking, how can I use my knowledge and skills into rendering a service that can get you a certain result, right? Or a product that I can develop, right? You get my point. And then now, moving on to what I'm doing. This is basically what you guys have all been waiting for, I guess. What I'm doing now, this is all designed for me, but you can still take away some key inspo from this, implement it in your own way. What I'm doing right now is I'm growing the YouTube. I'm growing it at a very slow and steady but consistent rate. Very grateful. I'm very grateful for every one of you guys. I've said this a bunch of times. I'll say it again. I'm really grateful for those of you guys who are here now in its early stages. I'm really appreciative of you tuning in, coming back to my stuff, especially if you're someone willing to watch this loom and you're already, we're about to enter half an hour in. Really means a lot that you're still here. Okay, so doing that, and then I've also been using my freedom, because now that I'm not tied to a job anymore, I realize that with all this time I have on my hands, there is absolutely no excuse as to why I don't have my dream physique. So I have been more active. I've been training harder, been training longer at the gym. I've been trying to increase my step count because with my work, with the YouTube, I'm sat at the computer for long periods of time. So I've been trying to deliberately increase my step count. Like every now and then I'll just not drive the car and just walk everywhere, right? And then I'll also learn the social media marketing space as I've landed myself an unexpected opportunity. I don't know why I wrote to manage Tom's YouTube, not really manage, but I've been able to help him like strategize with the marketing, which is really cool. And I've also been getting inquiries and interest from some locals at my gym asking me about my videography and editing and strategy services. So it's the one fucking model that I actually tried avoiding at all costs, because I was just like, everybody's done SMMA. Like Iman's already done it. Like I've always felt like, oh, that was his thing. Like I never really, I'm not one to want to copy other people. I've always wanted to be original. So I've always shied away from SMMA because I feel like it's so, at least my first impression was that it's so diluted until you kind of run into, at least for me, I ran into my own niche unexpectedly. And yeah, that's something that I'm doing now, that I'm working on. I don't know where it'll go, but it's something that I am doing now, and it's possible it'll help me bridge between where I am now and where I want to be in 2025, right? And then also, I'm dedicating time to read books and learn for both self-development and for business. So, I'm not gonna lie, I could have done this while I was working my 9 to 5. I feel like with anything that you truly find important, you're always going to make time for it to a degree. So I guess I was just being lazy. But now that I have a lot of time, there's absolutely no reason why I shouldn't be, um, not reading. So I'll just share with you guys like a few books that I read. My first one, for those of you guys who are recurring viewers here, you guys know Essentialism, I always recommend. This is a fantastic book. It's, I would say, fitting for both self-development and for fitness. It just really reveals to you what you should be doing, what are the most important tasks to be done, where is your time best spent that will give you the most leverage and fulfillment in return. Okay, so I really like this book. I also have, for a business book, I've been going into .com secrets. Every online entrepreneur, YouTuber, content creator, I feel like every YouTuber has read this book. I'm one of the few who hasn't yet, at least not fully. I'm like a little bit into it, but I have yet to finish that. And then I have like a bunch of other books. Like I also have Atomic Habits. I've always been flimsy with this book, but now that I have the time, I've been really trying to read it diligently. So yeah, reading books is what I'm doing, just self-educating, and even not just books, but like articles as well. Okay. And then I've also been dedicating more time to study other content creators and understanding their previous landscape and their role in the current. So what I'll do, guys, is I'll study up like younger Iman, like Iman's older videos. Like I'll go back to like my personal favorites of Iman's are like, I think is like 2016, 2017 videos, like videos in that from those years. Those are my personal favorites. Like what I'm doing is I'm studying these YouTubers, like even Hamza. I'll study his older videos, and what I'm doing there is to look for reference, look for inspo, and scan if there's a similar path that I could follow, or if there's anything that I could take away from what they did that led them to success that I could implement in my own way, right? And then just also from a creative perspective, I'll look into like their vlogs as well. Like Iman's high production stuff is really nice to look at. Daniel Dalen, though, is really my biggest inspo when it comes to creativity, and just like different, and even aside from the creative aspect of content creation, like just personality wise, right? I study Iman because I feel like his his personality and his interests and just the way he goes about things is very similar to the way I go about things. But I also like Hamza because I like how unfiltered Hamza is. I like how he just speaks his mind. He's very authentic. Not that all these other YouTubers aren't authentic, but Hamza does it in such a way that I find so relatable. And it's just something that I try to implement into my vlogs, my videos, my looms, right? So I take inspo from other people, just to keep it short, right? Moving on, habits and principles. I forgot to finish the principles part, but I have like my own, like I have like Josh's principles, which we can go over too. But in the meantime, these are some habits that I live by. Again, they're designed for me, for my own situation. Just um, you know, take it with a grain of salt if that's the right way to say it. But yeah, take inspo from this. First thing that I wrote for habits to make it happen next year is intermittent fasting. I've always done this, guys, intermittent fasting, but I haven't done it consistently. I'll do it in bursts. But now that I have all this time on my hands and I need my focus to be, um, I need my focus to be consistent, I do intermittent fasting. So what I wrote here is that it keeps my mind sharp and all of my best ideas come in a fasted state. Very true. Right now, guys, it's just about to be noon. It's 11:40 a.m. and I'm still fasted from yesterday. My last meal was at 6:30, and the day before that, I actually fasted for 24 hours. I think and act quicker, have the most clarity, helps me save time on food prep, keeps me lean. Yeah. So I've been going a little harder with this one. Like I said before today, so yesterday, before I had my first meal at 6:30, I was fasted for 24 the other day. So fasted for 24 hours, and yesterday I had a fucking record-breaking performance at the gym. Like I swear to God, I am like a machine when I am fasted. I think so clearly. I feel like I'm more like agile, mobile. I feel stronger when I'm fasted, you know. And yesterday at the gym while I was fasted, I was able to do 300 push-ups. Three fucking hundred, guys. And that's I attribute fasting to that success. And I didn't do 300 in a row, but I broke it into sets of 25. So I did 300 push-ups. I ran 2 miles, I walked 4, and I lost count, but I did a fuck ton of pull-ups. I've been trying to transition into like the calisthenics body weight kind of style kind of thing. And yeah, intermittent fasting is is very essential to my workflow. Like because I eat later in the day, all it forces me to move all of my important high leverage work in the morning where I think the clearest, I have the most energy levels, right? I actually did this loom an hour ago, and then I realized like the audio was fucked up, so I have to redo this again. So we're technically like 2 hours in. But yeah, intermittent fasting, it keeps me very, very sharp and agile throughout my day. My productivity goes through the roof whenever I am fasted. Something that I recommend for you guys. Like one thing that I'm told a lot by people who don't like it is like, oh, well, it gives me a headache. You know, it I get like I forget what their reasons are. Like I know headache is one of them. People just don't feel good, but like when you pass a certain threshold, um, when you I guess when you go past the max pain, if that's the right way to say it, you get this fucking, I don't even know how to explain it. It's like an ultimate high of clarity, and it's like almost like enlightenment. I don't know, bro. Sorry, if I'm not explaining it right, but that's how it feels. It's just like this unmatched level of clarity, right? So yeah. Anyways, next thing I do, I follow a daily and weekly non-negotiable list. So mine is kind of like training 4 times a week standard. I'm training more than that now. Going to the cafe to read 30 minutes daily. So let's just say I don't feel like reading. The bare minimum is 30 minutes at least, but I usually spend like 45 to an hour. Getting a standard of 7 hours of sleep. Not gonna lie, guys, I am still struggling with trying to get this as a standard. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm a very spontaneous person. I'm structured, but I'm also spontaneous. I, I don't know if that makes any kind of sense, but yeah. And then I also run once a week, so I'll do that with the Brickle Running Club or the Nike Running Club. If not, I'll just do a solo run, and then I'll try to journal once a week. This one I'm still trying to work on as well. Like I feel like journaling is one of those things that's neglected. Journaling is so fucking powerful. I've said this multiple times, multiple videos, but I feel like when you're able to take everything that's going on in your mind and you're actually able to translate it on paper. You just have like this new level of clarity, and you're also freeing up space in here for more new thoughts. That's just the way I see it. Okay, moving on. Let's see here. Constant self-reflection is a new habit of mine. This is something that I'm still trying to master, if I'm being honest. So I find it important to always self-reflect, assess yourself. How have things went this past month, week, few days? How are things currently going? What can I do for better things to come, right? This is something that I'm trying to implement. I guess this is good with business too, but I think this is more geared to like personal development. Like me trying to have a social life next year. Like a new goal of mine is just to talk to 2 new people every day. I'm even thinking, because now I'm starting to get acclimated to it. I'm starting to think maybe 2 new people to every place I go. So like if I'm going to the gym, 2 people there, and then if I get food at the cafe, 2 new people there, and then if I run errands and I go to the fucking post office, 2 people there. Right? You get my point. So constant reflection, analyzing how have things went. Was I good with my workout routine? Did I get things done with the business side of things, like with work, with YouTube, right? How is my current situation going, and what can I do for better things to come? Very important. And then another habit that I have is using social media. So it goes back to what I was saying earlier, like how I'm using YouTube and I'm studying other content creators. That's how I'm using social media, not consuming it. So I'm going back to Iman's older videos, Hamza's older videos, even Mike Thurston, right? You get my point, right? Like I'm using these people as case studies. I'm not consuming it. I'm not eating dinner and watching this stuff because I want to be entertained. Like it's genuinely for me to scope out the landscape. Okay. So rather than scrolling and just consuming stuff, that's what I'm doing. And then even like with my Instagram, I use it from a creator's perspective as well. So like I'll just use like my Instagram stories to just engage with you guys, my current subscribers, my friends, family, and like even my explore. This is my explore, guys. Like I don't have any degenerate shit. So like a lot of it is just Porsches, inspiring quotes, or like fitness stuff. Like let me refresh it again. Like I don't have anything degenerate. Like it's very clean. So I keep it that way on purpose because I I want to sorry, I lost my train of thought. I want it to be strictly a tool. I don't want it to control me. I don't want it to waste my time. Like I'm really being intentional with the way I use it. I feel like this is even for you, like your goals can be very different from mine, but I feel like this would be very helpful to you. Like if you're using it intentionally, you become more deliberate with everything else that you do, with how you spend your time. Like because for the average person, like we pick this shit up when we're bored, and then we look at it, we scroll just to pass the time or whatever. When we're in, bro, this will help you even like in social situations. Like, come on, let's be real. We've all been there. You're in a public place or whatever, a certain situation where you're kind of shy, you don't want to interact with people, and then you just resort to like scrolling on your phone, making it look like you're busy, but you're really not, right? So being intentional, don't consume social media, use it as a tool. Kind of helps you out on both ends, I guess, right? Like with business and just on a personal development standpoint. And then also go to bed and wake up at a consistent time. So this one I have a very hard time mastering, not gonna lie. It comes in bursts for me. That's what I tend to find, in bursts, because every now and then like I'll have like a project that I'm working on with the YouTube side of things or business side of things, and like I lose track of time. But whenever I do have those little short bursts, like let's say like 1 or 2 weeks of consistency of going to bed and waking up at the same time, I find that I have way more energy and clarity. I feel like I'm moving at a faster pace. I just feel like I'm going light speed when I do this. So something that I'm trying to get good at now. And then also, last but not least, I'll dedicate 30 minutes to an hour a day learning from online content creators and learning online business models. So that's geared for my situation, right? So for you, whatever you're doing, dedicating 30 minutes to an hour a day of learning your specific niche or whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, I feel like that's very essential. If you're tight on time, standard 30 minutes, bro. Like like I said, I'll do case studies on other YouTubers. I'll I'll watch like Loom style videos. You get my point. So just learning is essential to my habits. Keeps my learning curve and being able to what's the word for it? It allows me to keep implementing and trying new things that will help my micro and overall macro. Okay. So moving on, let's see here. I wonder, will this stop if I hit this? See this? Share this tab instead. So yeah, moving on. This is my just Josh's principles. These are just like my life principles. I feel like this is still applicable as to how to make it happen in 2025, at least for me, and hopefully this can work for you as well. But what I choose to live by is I choose to live a life by my design in every aspect possible, regardless of external opinions and how conventional or unconventional I choose to go about things. So I had to learn this rather younger because if you guys have immigrant parents, if you come from an Asian household, I'd say, you know how valuable college and education is to the family, right? You guys see where I'm going with this? So when I was 17, I was a junior at that time, and the it was just a fucking depressing season for me, man, because everybody, like I swear to God, like at least it felt like everybody was they were they're already choosing what school they wanted to go to. Like I kept hearing, "Oh, I got accepted into this school to major in this degree. I'm double majoring in this, minoring in this. I got a scholarship for this. You know, like acceptance to this. Like that was like the whole like it was kind of like a social pressure, I'd say, because like my family was kind of they were kind of like, yo, like what are you gonna do? And I was just one of the few people who were really unsure. Like to me, I was getting anxious because I was just like, how the fuck does everybody know what they want to do with the rest of their lives? Like how? Like I understand that there's certain people who genuinely know what they want out of life, and they've had the blessing of being able to learn that early. And then there's some people that want to take on the path of their parents, or someone that they look up to. So like some people already figured it out, but I was just one of the few who didn't have it figured out, and I didn't want to go to college. So this was one of those things that I still have to deal with up to this day. I'm going to get opinions from family that I should have went to college, I should have done this, I should have done that. Education is important. But in my opinion, if you really want to make things happen in life, you have to you have to be okay with not getting the approval of other people. Sometimes it's okay to do things that are disliked by others, as long as you're not really hurting anyone, right? So I choose to live a life by design. So I took the plan was just to take a year off to really figure it out, but I ended up never going to college, and hence that's why I lost a lot of my youth, because I just started working from a younger age and just haven't done anything else. And that's why I really want to get my social life back, at least being able to make friends with people my age. Like most of my friends are years older than me. Like most of my friends are 26 and up. And it would be really nice to have some friends like literally at my age, like 22, 23, 21, 18, right? So yeah, live a life by design, very important. And just by following through on that, regardless of what my family thinks. Because like, bro, even my my grandma in the Philippines, guys, she has this wall of everybody's degrees, like my aunts, uncles, cousins, whatever, and I'm the only one who's missing. I don't have a fucking degree. So you guys get what I'm dealing with, right? So yeah, it's just one of those things that I have to deal with. I'm not the odd one out of the family, but I don't care. I want to live my life on my terms as much as I possibly can, and yeah, I only have one life, so why would I want to live for someone else, right? And then also, second point, I do everything in life and business within my capacity and the best of my ability. Guys, I believe like I'm not perfect. Sometimes I get lazy for sure. But I feel like overall, how you do one thing is how you do everything else in life. Like that's why I find, at least now that I have all this time on my hands, I want to go even harder. I've been pushing myself a lot more on, on the training, trying to improve my physique, my performance. I feel like when I'm able to, if and when I'm able to implement this new level of discipline with my health and fitness, it's something that will translate into other aspects in my life, such as this YouTube channel and business. So some people may disagree, but I find that's the tendency that happens with my life. When I'm really diligent with one thing, I tend to be diligent with another thing, and because I'm diligent with that other thing, I'm diligent with another thing, right? Anyways, if I am set back with my own mistakes or situations out of my control, I learn and recalibrate accordingly, but never give up. So, um, in between the 3 years that I've been here from 19 to 22, which where I'm at now, I've made so many fucking mistakes, guys. Many mistakes that I don't even want to admit to the internet. But regardless, I don't I don't sit around and sulk and contemplate as much as possible. For sure, I have days where I'm down, absolutely. But I think when you really want to make something happen, especially if you're here now and you're early, it's only fucking October, end of October. You still got 2 months to plan and implement and really launch 2025 smoothly. I feel like now is the time to square away any mistakes you've made, um, and close those things off. Like that's the end of that chapter. Move on to into the new one. Like don't just sit there and complain about your life situation. Like yeah, it happened, but you got to move on. Okay, so recalibrate accordingly, and never fucking give up, guys. Never fucking give up. Like I feel like it's too early to say now, but I feel like that whole thing of making YouTube videos 3 or 4 in the morning, before going to the gym and before going to my office, those were like the hardest times to not give up. Like I almost did give up. Like bro, I was making videos that were getting 20 to 60 views and they were breaking, bro. It fucking sucked. And I'm like, yo, I'm getting up for what? But yeah, now the channel's growing at a very consistent rate because of that. So yeah, very important to not give up. And in fact, another story that I have for you guys that is I actually did give up on living in Miami. So I don't know if I shared this with everybody, but 6 months into living in Miami, I was already ready to give up. I was just renting this room that I couldn't fucking afford. Um, well, hardly afford. And the room temperature was so hot, the landlord just kept it at 78 degrees all the time. And I didn't see like a future. Like I was just working retail, and like my life was all over the place. And yeah, like I just didn't know where to go. And I called my mom and I told her like, yo, this is really hard. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I think this was a mistake, and I'm ready to move back in. But luckily, I have been blessed with an amazing mother. I feel like this was one of those things, one of those gifts that God has given me. Like, yeah, my mom, as much as she missed me and she wanted me to come home, she told me like, no, like, it's too early. I know how much Miami makes you happy, how much energy it gives you. Like, you got to fight for your dreams and your happiness. It's basically what she told me. And yeah, she gave me a little bit of a lift, and kept me going, and even helped me out financially for a little bit. So yeah, that was a very important turning point, because if I did give up, I don't know if these YouTube videos would be out today. So point is, never ever ever give up. You can detour all you want. I don't care. Like if God forbid, but if this YouTube and online stuff goes bust and I have to get, if I have to go back to work, then so be it. But that's not gonna stop me from trying again into making this YouTube stuff happen. Okay. Third thing, the most important decisions I have to make in life are decisions nobody will know about. These decisions must be made from a quiet mind, and only God and intuition are my counsel. So I'm going to keep the religious part private to me. That is for me. But I will say, when you are making a very important decision in life, I feel like it's best to make those decisions with a quiet mind, with nobody else's opinions factored in. I feel like you really got to rely on your intuition, what your gut is telling you, where you really want to go, because that's when um, you know I feel like what's most important, what's most authentic to you, will come out when you disregard what other people have to say. Like I'm not saying um, I'm not saying just toss like what your family thinks of you to the side or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying like when it comes to, how do I word this? A very important, like a really like life changing decision. Like for me, I'll just use Miami just to keep it simple. I don't want to go on a fucking tangent. Like Miami, I really felt like I needed to be here, right? And oh man, sorry guys. Like my brain just came to a fucking halt. But I was kind of I made that decision on my own. Like that whole process of deciding to move to Miami, like by the time my family started, you know, by the time I started bringing the idea up to my family, like I already knew that I was going. Like I was going to do it with or without their support. But that decision came from a very quiet mind. I didn't tell anybody my intention. I kept it between God and what my intuition was calling me to do. Okay? So that's just, you don't have to follow it if you don't want to, but I really recommend it, guys. Like any important decision that you got to make with your life, leave it to just, do it from a quiet place of mind. You know, don't factor in other people's opinions. Really keep it authentic to you. That's all I have to say for that one. Okay. And then also, I believe in balance, but not the kind that most imagine, such as like a work life balance. I believe in the balance of being someone who can remain ruthless and unwavering during expansion, such as a season like this with YouTube. Like this is my growth season. I'm really trying to push. It doesn't matter how slow or how fast, but I know this is a season of expansion. I have to be unwavering with this. But also, when there is a period of uncertainty, I want to be someone who can action stillness and reflection. I want to be someone who's capable of slowing down. Because if you are too plugged in, if you're working all the time, it could hinder that productivity, it could hinder that creativity, it could hinder just progress overall. It's like you could get to that point where you're running in the same place essentially. So you need to be able to pedal back and forth between both of, being someone who's fucking ruthless, like ruthless and unwavering. Like there's so many opportunities, there's so many things that I've had to turn down to be able to do this, right? As much as I wanted to say yes to other opportunities in my life that were just as good, I had to turn them down and be unwavering because I know this is the route that I want to take, right? So that's my kind of balance that I believe in. And then the seasons of highest difficulty, pressure, possibly even embarrassments, open the widest window of opportunities to grow, change, and prosper. This I absolutely fucking believe in, guys. Like there's been so many things that has happened in between during my time here in Miami. Like one of the most embarrassing things was losing my job. Right? Like that one was a tough one. I felt like it felt like being kicked off a plane with no parachute, essentially, because I was just working this entry level position and the dream was to work my way up. And that was and I had coworkers that were like my friends, and like this was the very first like community that I really established for myself in Miami. And after getting booted, my phone was just being pinged all over the place. What happened? What happened? Where'd you go? Why'd they let you go? Da 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 da. And it's just so fucking embarrassing because it was genuinely a job that, not the job, but being there, I cared about. I really wanted to work my way up, and I definitely learned a lot from that. So, guys, rather than sulking, sitting around and complaining, analyze from that bad situation that has happened to you. What have you learned? What can you do to grow? What can you do to make sure that it doesn't happen again? Right? These are your widest windows of opportunity, because after being fired from that job, right? I definitely learned my lessons. Not the lessons that the company wanted me to learn. No, they probably wanted me to learn like be more obedient, follow the rules, kind of shit like that. But the lesson that I learned was, for as long as I have a job, you know, I am not in control of my income, and I am not in control of my future, because I really wanted to work my way up, but that ended up not being the case. So I realized that long term, I want to have my own business, right? And now that, this one life changing moment for me, losing my job, has led me to where I am today, right? So, really, any painful moment that you're going through, I don't care if it's with a girl, if it's with work, with business, whatever, analyze, self assess, and see where the opportunities are to grow and prosper, okay? And I wrote here that these seasons are to be perceived as a test, and the mindset is to pass. I feel like whenever you're going through something difficult, it's always in your best interest to look at it as a test rather than be like, fuck, why is this shit happening? Like, when you look at it that way, you react to it on a more positive on a more positive note. Like, whenever I'm stuck, or I'm like, you know things aren't going my way, it's like, okay, this is just a test. This is a test to my faith, my dedication. I know this shit's gonna work out. This is just a test. I'm gonna fucking pass. That's it. It's a winning mindset, guys. You got to look at every difficulty as a test, and you just got to fucking pass. Like, you're never gonna go wrong thinking that way, in my opinion. Okay. And then, second to last, I move at the fastest, steadfast pace as possible. I do not focus on what other people are doing. I understand that time is finite, and to expend it on others by comparison is to lose. So, there's a lot jam packed in this one. I move at the fastest, steadfast pace as possible. I move fast as much as possible. Anything I learn, I try to implement it right away. Anything I fuck up, I try not to do it again. Make sure it's noted, right? But I also do it steadfast. You want to keep your head in. You want to be you want to have balance, even though you're going fast. You want to be, yeah, steadfast. Okay. I feel like that's very important. I feel like some people rip through too fast and they end up fucking things up. Some people move too slow. But if you're moving at the fastest, steadfast pace as possible, you're in motion. You got a good flow going. I think that's perfect. And then also, I do not focus on what other people are doing. Okay. Now, you may think that's kind of contrary to what I told you earlier, but when I look at other content creators like Daniel Dalen, Iman, Hamza, I'm doing it from an analytical perspective, not a comparison perspective. I'm scanning for things that I can use, things that I could take inspo from. But when you're focusing on what other people are doing in a perspective of comparison, like if you're just thinking like, oh, like, am I doing better than this person, or I feel like I'm behind because this person is doing this and I'm not, like, you are fucking losing. Like, that minute or hour that you spend comparing yourself with other people could have been spent on actually bettering yourself, learning something new, implementing new things, getting your body and your mind right, working on the business, working on your YouTube channel, whatever, right? You get my point. Focus on you until the focus is on you, essentially, right? So I feel like this is just a common mentality around where I'm at, because it's Miami, and then also just in general, like with people my age, like there's just like a bunch of fucking comparison culture on the internet, right? Like I for me, that's the fastest way to lose, guys. Like the only situation and the only person you could control is you. So trying to focus on anything outside of that is just the fast track to lose. So don't waste any more time comparing yourself to other people. Okay? Focus on yourself, focus on what you're currently doing now, what has happened, what you can do for the future. And just yeah, that's it. Use other people as a means of reference, not comparison. All right. And then last but not least, this is also personalized to me, but maybe you could take away some stuff for this. Work is not work to me. Work is a form of expression and vision. My body and mind is a gift from God, and I use it to its highest capacity. Laziness and indulgence is disrespect to Him. So I'm going to leave God and religion out of this. That's just really for me. But what I want you to take away from this is that when it comes to making it happen, I really hope that you find some kind of work that doesn't feel like work. I feel like I can just operate for fucking hours on end because my work doesn't feel like work to me. Like my week in the life vlog, I that took me just over a week to edit in total. There's a lot of footage, but I was spending 8 to 10 hours a day, sometimes even 12, just editing, just powering through. That's a lot of work, but it didn't feel like work to me. I was just in this flow state, just creating, man. Like I feel like to live a fulfilling life, to live a life of enjoyment, at least just for me, work should not feel like work. Like obviously there's going to be days like there's technical things that I have to do, right? Sometimes editing can be tired. Sometimes it can feel like work, or drafting up, scripts and ideas for the YouTube, or even like doing back end stuff like making presentations such as this. Sometimes it can feel like work, but overall, I love content creation. I love, the online entrepreneurship space. It doesn't feel like work to me. Like, how can you lose if it doesn't feel like work to you? You're only going to get better over time, right? For me, work is a form of expression and vision. I'm just naturally like a creative, I would say. At least I'm starting to realize I am a creative, and I have a certain vision for things, and it's really fulfilling for me to see something in here and craft it into a video or into a picture, or it even bleeds onto my fashion sense. Like I like the expression side of things, right? And that's it. These are my principles, and I feel like these principles of mine will help me really make things happen in 2025. Hopefully took away some inspo from this. And yeah, that basically concludes today's Loom, guys. I know we're like an hour in, so yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys took away something from these habits and principles that I've went over. Hopefully you guys took away some things from what I have done and what I'm currently doing, and you are able to implement these things in your own way. Of course, whatever making it happen, whatever making it happen means to you. So like and subscribe, guys. If you guys want to see more stuff like this, let me know in the comments how you feel. I know there's going to be some disagreements for sure on this one. But yeah, anyways, guys, hope you guys have a good one. I'll see you on the next video. Peace.